I love you. Have a good day. It's easy to forget to appreciate the small things. I think I've done that too much. I need to take the time to look at what's right in front of me. I've got to get out of the habit of ignoring the small miracles in life. I only seem to pay attention when something is wrong, not when it's right. Even an elevator is a minor miracle. Someone invented this. I know consciously that there was a time when this technology didn't exist. It's just so hard to see beyond the present. I'm going to tell him how I feel.
Hello Computing Beast, welcome to the stream.
It feels like I drifted into these routines.
I think all you need to really do is just sit back and relax on this one. It's one of those like button games, but like it's really good. I've played this through once before. It has actually got a very good story to it. And the next one, seatbelt.
Some routine is good, sure. Other patterns, they're just habits with no meaning.
If you have any questions with this game, just basically say so and I'll tell you. I can say one thing about this game. One of the easiest games for achievements. 100 gamer score per achievement. And broadcasting Fragments of Him. I've only just started playing it, so if you want to come watch for a bit. I guess they both went to another party and start watching something together, I'm guessing. I don't know.
I can't believe how lucky I've been. And I took it for granted.
I know I've got one watching me right now, Computing Beast. He's always watching me, so it's pretty good. It's basically, all I'm gonna say, it's all about this guy that's driving
Living
you.
carefree has
I'm
been
gonna
good,
just say that.
but it's not going anywhere.
It's on a 30 megabytes update. So yes, Computing Beast, it's just basically
It's time
about
to take
him.
control.
But if you read the actual name to this game, you'll understand.
I can't think how often we chatted there, talking late into the night.
If anyone's watching right now, all you need to do is now relax and just sit back, put your feet up, or whatever you want to do. I've been waiting for this game to come out in some sense because it was
We used
like
to walk in the park
little...
together. We should do more of that.
It is. Traffic lights and stuff like that, yes.
I'm happy with him. I have to be sure he knows that.
In one sense, there's one thing about this game that does get a little tedious, is the loading screens. That I cannot tell you, Hannah.
Patterns.
Yeah.
Every day that alarm goes off. I should change the tone on it. Though, Harry always sleeps through it, so that's something.
I have. I'm just now playing it for the enjoyment.
I think of these routines as optimized living,
And
like they allow me time to focus on other things. But I've not been doing that.
it's an hour or two. It wasn't that long. What are those in there?
Harry likes me in this t-shirt. I reread the same books time and again. It's comforting, I guess.
I'm just the random thing that, clicks things, and that's...
I love this painting. And I can't remember the last time I really looked at it.
Well, my friend Beast, you'll understand soon enough.
It's good to have reference points in your life, some patterns. I don't want my life with Harry to change.
And if you want
But
to
it
put
will
your
happen
voice
if I
in
don't
the
take
actual thing,
I feel like I should try to break patterns. I usually use the bathroom first.
I'm going to use the bathroom.
Yeah, let's not get carried away with changing everything. Only change if it makes sense. I need to get my head in the game. I need to stop running and see what's great right here. I should ask Harry to marry me. Yeah, that feels right. Marriage. Back when I was at uni and dating Sarah, it didn't feel this way. That was love too, but this, with Harry, I finally get what all the love songs are about.
That's my last achievement. Patterns. Got it. He has no reflection exposure.
It was the first day at university. I was terrified. My parents drove me up to the student village. The back of the car was stuffed with everything that I owned. I tried to look confident. It was faked. I'm not sure anyone noticed either way. Paul is my mum's boyfriend. He liked Will. My biological dad probably wouldn't have. Looking at all my things in the boot of the car, I never knew I had so much stuff. I went inside first. I had a room to myself in a shared house, and we already had the keys. I don't remember where we got them from. Mum or Paul must have picked them up from the admin person, I guess.
You'll understand it when, you'll get more into depth with it.
I felt butterflies in my stomach when I walked into my dorm room for the first time. I was really nervous, and I didn't think about how Mum and Paul felt leaving me there. It was scary for me, but must have been... I don't know. I suppose I'll understand someday what it's like to say goodbye to your child. When they left that day, they would be going home to an empty house, you know? I was floating through unpacking, thinking about that space upstairs. My room had probably the cheapest carpet in the world. It was awful. They might as well have painted concrete, but it was my room and amazing. Do you remember the first time you had a place to yourself?
Yes, it is.
To be able to lock the door and really tell everyone to stay away, or to ask someone in. I think we all must feel the same.
It's all about the guy.
Of course I was thinking a bit about dating. Everyone there was, I think.
I just completed this game literally already.
It's not like I felt awful about
Wasn't that
myself,
hard?
just like I was really average.
Are you gonna do all that again?
I'm playing this game all over again just for everyone here.
No, are you gonna be fucked up?
I think the last one you don't have to bring in, I don't think.
Wait, no, cute is the right word. I wasn't really thinking about sexy back then. I felt so adult, but I had so much growing up to do.
Oh yeah, I got to turn around. I always forget that one.
It's funny to think back, like this, now.
I hate these loading screens now. That's the only bad thing to this game. You should have just done it.
Just don't confident.
Not much. £7 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good little game. Thank you for everyone that's watching right now. Literally just sit back and relax. And even if it looks like it's just a total black screen, don't worry too much, because it's just basically the loading screens in this game. Like I've just been talking to my friend Hannah. I have 7 at the moment. it'll update in a bit. Okay, is this loading up? There we go.
Will must have been in the lectures over the first few weeks, but I didn't notice him, if I'm honest. I was so busy with everything and just learning how to live, do laundry, cook every day, that kind of thing. I next remember seeing Will through the window of the Union Bar. I remembered he'd looked back at me on that first day, and it made me smile.
Listen to that music.
The music scene was good back then. Blur, Pulp, Elastica, Thingy, Suede. All those bands were great. Not that the Union played them much. It was more dancey in there. It was a typical Friday. Crowded, with the windows dripping with condensation, cheap spilled drinks making the floor sticky. I guess I set my sights on him that night. I was determined to at least talk to him. It's not easy to find someone when you're not so tall and the lights are low. Spotting Will in the crowd
Yeah, you have
was
to keep
hard.
clicking these guys.
I think I was changing fast. It'd only been a couple of weeks since I got to uni, but I felt very different. I know it sounds weird, but I always felt that Will was a good person. The kind of person I wanted to be around. It was
Yes.
true too. Considering it was the first thing I ever said to him, it's funny that I have no idea what the conversation was about that I butted into. I don't think there was any doubt about my intentions. We had a few drinks and I remember pulling him outside.
I'm trying to not speak much so then it gets people, so people can listen rather than.
I could feel my heart racing, that excitement of anticipation. We went to sit just outside the bar. We could still hear the music, and the cold night air felt good.
Oh my god, this turn is actually just nice and now we're going back.
And that was when he first kissed me.
Yes, guys, if no one's wondering, yes, it is a love sort of thing as well, this game.
We went to the cinema for our first proper date. We took seats in the back row, living up to that cliche. We didn't make our lives easier. There's that date night expectation if you sit at the back.
No, it's the back, and then you can do what you want.
We sat there fidgeting, wanting to touch but scared to. I shifted in my seat a bit, letting my leg touch his. I was so smooth. When I went to hold his hand, he moved his away. But I think that was by accident. I kept looking sideways to see if he was looking at me, but tried not to move my head too much in case he wasn't looking and noticed that I was. The film had that guy in it who always acts crazy but then does lots of action kick-ass stuff. We weren't really paying attention, I think. It was like everything else faded out. I put my hand on his leg, he turned to me and did that shy smile of his.
It is 50 Shades of Grey. Duh. It isn't.
He put his hand on the side of my face,
Guy's put.
just gently on the skin, turning me to face him. He closed his eyes and kissed me, placing his lips softly onto mine. We locked our fingers together and watched the rest of the film. We didn't let go until ages after we left the cinema. Did you ever fall in love so hard and so much you just knew it would have to end? It was my first time, but even back then, I think I knew deep down that's what it was. Will always gave the impression of confidence, like he always had a grand plan. I wish I knew if he saw that end coming too, like I felt it was. I don't know if that would have made how it went any easier.
Anyone that's new to the stream, thank you for watching. Just basically sit back, relax and watch. Basically, that's all you need to do. And anyone that's actually watching this, I shall be making a clip of this at some point.
You're gonna make a clip of that?
I am.
I spent the next day finally doing the unpacking that I'd been putting off. I'd done my clothes and the essentials, but there were other bits to be done. I put candles out. I think I thought I'd need to do romantic lighting. I had arranged to see Will later in the week. I was really falling for him. Is it weird to tell you this? I'd packed loads of my old books. Nothing really related to uni, I just liked having them nearby.
Shelf.
When I was born, someone from my mum's work gave me a toy bunny. I know it's silly, but it makes me happy. I've still got that bunny on a shelf in my room. It's like looking straight into the past and some good times. Even the smell makes me happy. My mum gave me a tasseled cloth scarf to remind me of home. She's a right hippie. I kept on changing my mind. It shouldn't have mattered so much, but I wanted the place to look nice. I must have spent ages just shifting stuff around.
Put the bunny up there this time.
The little choices are important.
Oops.
I
I
guess
moved the
it didn't
bunny
make any
over there
difference
last
really,
time.
but I was happy when I was sure I'd got it right. I wanted to feel comfortable when Will came over. Will and I, it felt like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing, and just as likely to burn us both as to make us happy. But what a lovely way to burn.
If anyone has any questions, just basically put on the messaging board and I shall read it out and I shall say.
That Christmas, I met Will's family. We'd been together for 4 months. Do you remember me there? I was so worried I was going to say something and embarrass myself. I was much more shy back then, and I was really in love with Will, and I wanted to make sure I didn't mess anything up. I kept on wanting to touch him. There was this really good chemistry with him, but with family around, it didn't seem right. I got nice shivers when he touched me as he poured my wine. Thanks. The meal went well, I think.
Yeah, cut that turkey.
You only get to make one first impression, so I probably should have worn something else. I felt quite self-conscious. I loved him so much, but that feeling I had wouldn't go away, that it was all going to end. That Christmas Day, though, I felt like we had a chance.
I will say this will be like people's like views on this one guy, so it will keep replaying certain parts of the thing, but from their own perspective. So
Okay. So go see the Christmas dinner again from his point of view.
well, from someone else's point of view, sort of thing.
Things were going well, but over the months, I felt the relationship changing.
Yes.
We would cuddle up in bed and watch TV or movies. There was a transgender character on Coronation Street. We talked about that for a long time. I'm straight and hadn't really thought about my sexuality. It was just what I was. Will was just who he was too. It's funny to tell you this now, but I was never jealous of Harry. You'd think I would be, but I loved Will so much. I just wanted him to be happy. I could feel the end of it all shaping up, but we had good times anyway. We were in love, but lonely too. It felt like we were the only people in the world. Maybe I didn't mind Will getting closer to Harry because it felt like our own love was too much for two people. We were all, Will, Harry and me, studying on the same English degree. There was a spark between Will and Harry, that much was obvious. I know some people would feel jealous, but I don't know. Being around Harry made Will happy. I'll never forget that time, seeing their friendship grow. We would listen to music as we fell asleep. Will had a CD recording of a thunderstorm. The sound of the rain was relaxing, but there were a couple of bits of thunder that would make me jump. We listened to a lot of Portishead. Even now when I listen to them, I remember being back in that room, in his arms. As the months went by, we went out less. We had a few friends that we'd go out for drinks with, and Harry, but Will and me spent most of our time together. It still makes me smile, thinking of that room and those days. It might seem odd to you, but it was my suggestion. I told Will to ask out Harry. I loved him. I knew it would make us all happy for Will to have Harry in his life. It was something he needed to do. Helping a person find their true love,
So
that's
far.
an honor. It's a kind of magic right there. For a long time, though, I wish that true love had been me.
I know what you laughed at.
I just looked up to see it.
Let me paint a picture for you of the end. Will had been seeing both me and Harry at the same time for about 6 months. I can see you think that sounds weird, but it really wasn't. We were all open, safe, and honest about it. The picture. It was October, and we met in the basement of the Royal Oak. Smoking was still allowed in pubs, and the faint smell clung to everything. The basement was crowded with heavy oak furniture, with the wood grain sealed away under layers of old varnish. The chairs were covered with a tapestry weaving type of fabric that was worn away from years of use. I knew what I was going to say to Will. Before I went to university, a friend asked me what love is. I told her that love was being able to tell a person that you never wanted to see them again. Even though it broke your heart to do it, you would tell them to leave you because it was right.
Ow.
I was quite happy with that answer. Like love was something from a Shakespearean tragedy. I hadn't been in love when I said it. I didn't expect to have to do it. I didn't expect to be right. We need to talk.
Oh?
This needs to change.
You mean us?
I feel like I'm getting in your way.
You're not. This is good.
It is good, but it's not right. It's not forever.
Isn't this what you want?
I'm happy with you. I love you, but this isn't about me.
I love you too. I want to be with you.
I know, but I don't think you should be.
Is this it? Can I do anything differently?
Last ones I chose last time.
No, you've not done anything wrong.
I don't want this.
Me either. But it's right.
I love you.
I love you too. I was so in love. I can't tell you how much it hurt to let him go. I never forgot him. I never stopped loving him. Love doesn't just stop. It's not like a room you just walk out of. Our love, the warmth of it, became a memory I cherish. I've never loved anyone like that again. It took me 2 years to get over Will. I could see him falling in love with Harry. Soft and deep love, not like the fire we had. It was beautiful. I didn't really consider that we could all have kept on dating together. You know, it might have worked for a while, but that wasn't what we did. It's just the past. I don't know if what I felt was a proper depression, but it was definitely a really bad time for me. I just worked really hard all of the time and got a great degree grade from it, so that was something good for me from it all.
That will come back.
I didn't stop loving Sarah. I haven't stopped, though it's different now. We still meet and catch up. There was a reason we dated. She's wonderful. We both moved on okay, in the end. The breakup. I know she did it for me, but it hurt us both. She really questioned herself. Would it have been easier if I'd been with another woman? The pain she went through. I don't want to do that to anyone ever again. Especially not Harry. These stupid, mundane things. I'm stuck here. I'm going to piss him off eventually. It's fine to say that was the past, but I still look at others. I'm human. Why am I doing this to us? He'd be an idiot to marry me. Tea. My grandma said that tea solves everything.
Yes.
Why is he really bad?
A little bit.
Sarah's fine. Now. But we were young. She had time to move on. Maybe Harry would find a better life without me. Man up, my grandma would have said.
thought you'd like this.
Naturally, as Will's grandmother, I knew Will since the first day he was born, of course. I will never forget that first moment in the hospital, when James, that's Will's father, handed me my grandson for the first time. He wriggled in his blue blanket, already a strong boy. James liked that punk thing in the 1980s, and looked a terrible mess to me. He ran 3 pubs in London for those sort of people. I would go over to babysit as often as I could. A child needs someone normal in their life. James and Sharon would always be putting on some awful music, if you could call it that. Not my cup of tea at all. I turned it off first thing whenever I was babysitting. Will's birth wasn't very easy, but he got here. He was never going to have brothers or sisters after, though. The magazines that Sharon read were full of paintings. I'm not sure they were very suitable for a young boy to be around, but I don't like to judge. It's good for a young boy to be outdoors, but Will never really liked that when he was young. Sharon, Will's mother, broke up with James for 3 years at one point and took Will away to America, where she comes from. They had met through James's work. No wonder, really. James had horror books in the house, and I'm so glad they were kept on a high shelf away from Will. Terrible things. I just don't understand what pleasure there is in that kind of story. I loved Will. I always just wanted him to have the best possible start and to be successful. I suppose I sound awful, saying his parents were doing everything wrong. I remember an evening where Will was quieter than usual. At first I thought he was ill. He had been in a fight at school. Another boy had been calling a girl names because she had dark skin. Will told the boy to stop, and he was punched in the stomach. I asked him if he had cried, and he said yes. I told him that big boys don't cry. I remember him asking me then, what do big boys do when they're sad? I told him that when he grew up, he would be a good man, able to stand up for others. I suppose I didn't answer his question. I told him that he was right to try to stop the bully. Now I think about this, he didn't seem much happier. What should I have said? When he was going to bed, Will tripped on a toy. I remember carrying him. He was trying so hard not to cry. He was so small in my arms. I've never forgotten that feeling.
He got put on World Star. Oh.
I have so many little memories making up our lives together. It's odd what sticks with you, though. I took him to bed to read him a story. He went through a phase of being scared of ghosts. Sharon would buy him ghost storybooks, and he had that pop-up haunted house book too. I had to check the room for ghosts before he would sleep. I always look carefully to reassure him. I remember that night because I promised him then that I would always be there for him, to protect him regardless of anything. He probably thought I meant about ghosts, but I meant it for everything. It's not the kind of promise you forget. I've been reading him Grimm's fairy tales. I didn't like all the updated nonsense they'd been putting into stories back then. It was a strange story that night, called The Ungrateful Son. I think it went something like this. Once upon a time, a man and his wife were eating a roast chicken for dinner. When the man saw his father, who was very old, walking up the road towards them, the man didn't want to share his chicken, so he hid it out of sight. The man's father arrived, bid them good day, and continued on his way. The man was very happy and so told his wife to put the chicken on the table again. But the chicken had transformed into a giant toad, which leapt onto the face of the man. The toad wouldn't leave his face and hissed at the wife when she came near, so she didn't dare approach to help. The man had to feed the toad every day from then on, or it would bite his face, and he never rested for the remainder of his life. That was a very strange story. Will was asleep before I finished it, which was probably a good thing. I felt strange after reading it. I wondered about whether I really could keep him safe. I didn't know where life was going to take him. I was his grandmother, and I hoped I would help him be a good man. I could still see him sleeping there now, like it was only yesterday.
Anyone that's watching right now, you can just sit back and relax watching this. I think that's more or less the intention of this game.
I'd raised James, so I thought I would be ready for anything from my grandson Will. But I wasn't daft enough to think that it would be easy. The world changes so fast. I remember the family visiting me when Will was a teenager. Do you know Al Martino's Here in My Heart? He had such a lovely voice. It was playing when Robert first kissed me. Robert would hum it to me sometimes. We've family over in New Zealand. I went to visit them after James had grown up. We still write letters to each other, at Christmas, you know. It's important to stay in touch with your family, even when we're so spread out. I like to go down to Brighton, to the seaside, and I would buy a new glass animal every time I went there, collecting them. Everyone should have a hobby, I think. My husband Robert died when Will was young. He was a good writer, but I do wish he had tried a bit harder. Still, I loved him. It was only a matter of time back then before Diana divorced Charles. She'd done that interview, and we all knew it was coming. Sometimes people treat us old people like we have nothing to say, so I started the conversation.
I think it's sad. She was bullied into all of this from the beginning.
The conversation didn't go well from there. I got very frustrated with him. James took Will's side on it all. He always would be difficult in those kinds of things. I told you before that Sharon is American. She didn't say anything, which was probably a blessing, really. I wish I hadn't even tried. They didn't want to hear my views. I said that I was going to make some tea. No one offered to help. I felt patronised. I don't think they really wanted tea. I didn't really want it either, but I didn't want to stay in there. I suppose all this seems like a strange thing to remember, but it was a sad day for me. These days it's easier to be different, to forge your own path or something like that, and everyone else be damned. James and Sharon were both adults, but Will... We didn't have all these choices, and we all turned out well enough. It's not good to stick out like a sore thumb. You have to fit in. I was scared for him. He had all these views about things, and it was dangerous. I was scared for Will. I didn't want him to stand out and end up worse off. I waited, letting the tea brew. And I cried for him. He was young, but he was old enough too. He was going to make mistakes, and I wouldn't be able to stop him. I knew something had been broken that day between Will and I. I took a deep breath and pulled myself together. It's not the done thing to let others see you get upset.